There we go. We are now recording. So I'm gonna just go through what this call is going to be about for the people that are watching the recording. So I'll be going through two things. How I hope to change the group chat. How I hope to be coming out with a 10-part video course tomorrow. Where I'll be going through market structure, order blocks, Wyckoff, higher time frame entries, lower time frame entries, imbalances. But today's call will be about imbalance, how to identify imbalance on a chart. Um, and then also I'll be going through a trade where I spotted imbalance and how we ended up opening that trade, closing that trade. Why did we use that imbalance and why was it a valid imbalance? So we'll be going through all of that good stuff today. You should now will be able to see my chart. I'm just gonna change it, change it so you can see the Discord screen. And then I'm gonna go on to where was it? The watch list for the week. So here we go. If I scroll up, you'll find that I posted this trade on gold. It was a sell on gold out of this 4 hour supply zone. You can all see the market came from that 4 hour supply zone, ended up dropping nicely from that 4 hour supply zone, and we were expecting a retracement and then a continuation to the downside. What ended up happening is the market did exactly that. So it started going downwards. This was a profitable trade for me. It took out equal highs first, so this entry wasn't necessarily correct. It took out equal highs, came to an order block up here, then ended up dropping, came into our imbalance right here. What we saw the market do is, if I now share my screen on my chart, right, and I go on to what time frame was that? I think that was the 1 second. That was no, not that. Give me a second, boys. So the 30-minute time frame, that was the 30-minute time frame. So let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. Okay, here we go. That was the 30-minute time frame. Let me go on to the 30-minute time frame. I'm going to be going through why I closed that trade at that imbalance, why it was a valid imbalance, all of that good stuff. Before I go through that, we need to understand what an imbalance is. So if you see this, just I'm just gonna mark out first of all that imbalance that I'm talking about. So this was the imbalance. You can see if I draw it from wick to wick, I'll be going through all of this near the end of the call. But you can see I drew it in from the wick to this wick, basically where there is only bullish pressure in the market. You can see that in this little area, if we go into the lower time frame, there's going to be loads and loads of blue candles followed with barely any red candles. Once that happens, we call it an imbalance because there is an imbalance of buyers and sellers. In a financial market, in any market, in your local supermarket, you need to have a certain amount of buyers and a certain amount of sellers. If there is more buyers than sellers or more sellers than buyers, the transaction cannot occur. Think of it like this. If you go to your local supermarket, right, and you want to buy something, and that supermarket isn't selling the thing you've bought because there's been so many people wanting to buy it. There's huge demand and not a lot of supply because the supermarket has run out. That happens every day. Supermarkets run out of stock every day. The reason for that is because there is an imbalance of buyers and sellers. There are loads of buyers and not many sellers, right? That can happen in a financial market as well. In this case, we have loads of buyers and not many sellers. Therefore, this is a valid area of imbalance, right? You can see that if we look at this area, you can see there is no bearish momentum, just straight bullish momentum. Once this happens, we understand that we are in an area of imbalance and that the market needs to come take out this imbalance because this sort of market behavior is not natural, right? So this is where I think I got myself from, right? It was an order block here. I wanted the market to come take out these equal highs here, right? You can see if I just make this line a little bit less thicker, so just give me a second to do that. Here we go. So you can see this is the area it touched once, touched twice, and I was expecting the market to take out those equal highs to the upside and then start selling off. So this was my entry. If I show you the exact entry that I entered from, stop loss goes right above that high, and I was expecting it to come to the imbalance. So why would I close? Where would I close this trade, and why would I like what use would the imbalance be to me when I'm choosing my take profit? Your take profit always goes at the top of that imbalance. So you can see that top of that imbalance right there is where I took profit, and the market went to that imbalance and then reversed completely and continued going to the upside and continued respecting that prevailing trend. Right, this was a counter trend trade. The only reason why I wanted to do it, despite it being counter trend, was if we look at the higher time frames, right, you'll notice that we had that 4 hour order block on our side. So we had this order block here that the market came to us. So I was expecting it to sell off at least for a couple hundred pips before then continuing going to the upside and following that prevailing trend. So that was what I was watching for gold. So if anyone has any questions, that's just like a quick overview. I'll be going through like specifics, and if you have any chart examples that you want me to go through of imbalance and how I would go ahead choose go ahead when choosing how I'm going to enter the market, then of course you can let me know and I'll go through all of those. um but yeah, does anyone have any questions? Let me know. I'll look at chat. Someone wants me to go through USD CHF. Of course I'll do that. Let's do that right now. In fact, USD CHF, USD CHF. Another person had a question saying gold is looking like a sell. I'll make sure I go ahead and look at that. And look at this. I've just opened up USD CHF and looks like I already had it marked out as an area that I wanted to be buying USD CHF from. You can see that we have a nice little area of order block. If you guys can't see that, this is the order block, right? If I go into the higher time frames, maybe something like the daily, maybe it'll be a bit clearer. You can see that we have a very, very clear daily order block right here. I can even refine that to that last daily candle. That's our last daily candle. You can see it's very clear. The market is now coming to that daily candle. We're now seeing a bit of bullish momentum out of that daily candle. I'm getting loads and loads of questions now, so just give me a second. Zaman Mohammed says the dollar showing strength, and that there's a weak OB. Also, there's an imbalance present. Also, there's a weekly OB. Okay, it looks like there's a lot of confluence for USD CHF. I'll make sure to look at that and go through this very clearly. So in fact, let me just delete everything off the chart and go through it just from the beginning. So it looks like someone said there was a weekly OB that the market is going to. Um, Maybe you're talking about something like this. You could argue that this is like a weekly OB the market went to, and that we saw the market push up for a good amount from that weekly OB. And now what we're seeing is the market retrace, come to our daily OB right here. So this is a daily OB we're watching, right? The market come to our daily OB. Once it does that, we're expecting the market to push back up and maybe restructure the upside, is what I think you're saying. If you're saying that, that makes complete sense, right? Maybe I'd be looking number one to refine that entry. So if we just replay that and go into something like the 5 minute to get that true order block, where that order block formed, I'd say the cleanest order block is right here. That's that last bit of selling. We have consolidation on our side. Consolidation is always a good thing when we're looking for order blocks, because that indicates that the market is that smart money stacking orders. If you don't know what I mean by that, basically what I mean by that is a lot of the time what will happen in a market is there may not be enough liquidity to open one huge position. So say for example, JP Morgan, which is a bank, right, an investment bank, aka a member of Smart Money, wants to open a $200 million sell in this area right here. We're expecting for JP Morgan to, instead of opening a huge 200 million pound sell, instead they'll break it up into $50 million chunks. So what that will look like is 50 million pound sell here, another 50 million pound sell here, another 50 million pound sell here, and then the market can go lower. That's how we have Wyckoff distributions happen and Wyckoff accumulations happen, right? I'll go through this in the video course that I am coming out with tomorrow. But basically, that's just a quick overview of why consolidation is good for us. But as I was saying, we have a little bit of consolidation in this zone. This looks like a nice OB to be entering from. It looks to me that there is another OB right here. But those look like the clearest ones. If we now get out of replay mode and we see which of those the market respected, it looks to me that the market respected perfectly that lower one, as you can see. So if I just get rid of the higher one, the market came into our lower one, the one that I said had consolidation on its side, and now it's pushing up to the upside, right? There's a very, very clear example, a very clean example of how you could have refined entries, right? We went on the higher time frames. We saw that there was a very clear 4-hour and daily order block. Then we went on to the lower time frames. I think it was a 5-minute time frame that we were watching. And if you had entered, I don't know if any of you had entered, you'd be looking at some really nice profits at 40 pips right now. Um, let's see if there is any space for this to continue going to the upside. It looks to me that there is an area of double top up here, which is a good sign for us because we're looking to buy. Areas of double top are always going to get taken out, right? Because the reason for that is we have resting liquidity. The resting liquidity is like a magnet for the market. The market is always going to be looking to come take out resting liquidity, right? Um, so yeah, that's something you need to be looking at. Resting liquidity. Also, we have the market come into our order block right here. and it's pushed up from the upside. We are pro trend as well. If we look at our higher time frames, you can see that we are pro trend. In terms of our 4 hour, you can see it looks like we are not pro trend. But if you look at our higher time frame, something like our daily, you can see that we have this little bit of trend line that the market seems to be respecting. So we are pro trend, and I think this market could continue going to the upside and taking out areas even above here, or come to demand zones up here and fill imbalances here that you can see. Right, so there is a lot of potential for this trade, and in fact, I will post this in the group right now. Thank you to whoever notified me of this, because this is a beautiful setup. I'm just gonna go on to the weekly time frame. In fact, I'll do that at the end of this call, so I don't waste any time. But thank you to whoever notified me of this, because this is an amazing setup. Rafa asks, what does Rafa ask? I accidentally closed the chat. Rafa asks, how likely do you think price will retrace back down and head on to USD CHF? What I think is, if I go back to the 30-minute time frame, I think I was on, or I think it was the hourly. Let me just make sure, because I don't want to be saying anything wrong. It might have even been the 4 hour. It looks to me that it's going to continue retracing. Maybe come to an order block here, or you can enter off a Fibonacci level. Right, it completely depends. I'd just be watching this. I'd continue to watch this. It looks to me that it's just coming to that area between that zero point 0.5 and the 0.618, and that we are now seeing a bit of bullish pressure in the market. But there looks to be a nice order block. Looks to be nice order blocks here that the market could go to. So I see one here. I see another one right here, down here. So the market could go to both of those and then continue going to the upside. But I think it will continue to retrace a bit more. Plus, you could argue that there is a bit of imbalance in that zone. But for the time being, I'd be watching. I will post it in the group chat just in case if anyone wants to enter. Because even if you risk 0.5% of your account and you enter now, right? Because we're looking at such huge targets and you target all the way up here, you could still get an amazing risk to reward of something like, if I look at it, a 1 to 10 risk to reward. So I think it's worth watching. Hello, everyone. Can you guys now hear me? Let me know in chat if you can hear me. Oh, okay, here we go. Yes. Thank you for that. I don't know, it just turned off. Anyway, I'll try and fix that for next time. But as I was saying, I think that USD CHF will continue to retrace. We'll see it retrace a bit deeper, maybe into areas here, and then we'll see it go to the upside. But I'm saying the point is, even if you enter now and you risk 0.5% of your account, maybe you'll be in some drawdown for some time. But because there's such huge targets, I'd be targeting for me only here. But even if you do that, it's a one-to-one. But the potential is it could go all the way up here, and we could get a nice, how many pips is that? A nice 500 pip movement. We'll of course take partials on the way and maybe re-enter again, but there is potential for this to really move to the upside. So that's what I'd say for USD CHF. I'll post it in the group chat, so if anyone wants to enter. But for me, I'm not going to be entering. I'll wait for it to retrace a bit deeper, and then I'll be entering. So yeah. Does anyone have any other pairs that they want me to go through? Please do let me know in chat. And I know that there are a couple new members that have just joined. So what names do I not recognize? Frank Langerer, I've butchered that name. Who else? Victor Oleye. A couple others. I know that there are a couple that joined. So we'll be going. If you have any other questions and you are the priority because you've just joined, so please do let me know. And I will be answering all of your questions. So Rafa asks, Euro USD messed up. Yeah, I'll show you why Euro USD messed up. So if we go on to Euro USD, I called Euro USD, ended up stopping me out. So what happened is the market. So what I was expecting for the market to do is, I expected it for it to come into our OB here and then sell off some more. Um, but what it looks like to me now is happening is the market is coming to an OB up here, right? So I think the market is going to do something like that. So come into an OB there and then begin to sell off, because that makes sense. However, a move from somewhere like here doesn't really make sense. And I did get stopped out. So you're not alone in your loss. Whoever, I think it was Rafa, I think you said you're not alone in your loss. I did also take a loss. It looks to me that it's respecting this OB now and is going to sell off from that OB. So I will continue to watch it. I am looking for some sort of sell because we do have a lot of imbalance that needs to be taken out below here. So I am looking for it to come take out those imbalances. I'm just looking for a good entry at the moment. That's the reason why Euro USD messed up for Rafa. I think you were asking. So Victor says he wants me to go through NZD chaff and NZD CAD. So let's look at that. NZD chaff. I think someone's unmuted. I'm just gonna mute everyone again unless you wanted to ask a question. Did you want to ask a question? Whoever's just unmuted. If not, I'll mute everyone. Okay. So Victor wanted me to go through NZDCHF. You're asking, what do I see for NZDCHF? It looks to me that the market formed an order block here. This order block, however, hasn't fulfilled our criteria that we look for. You remember our criteria that we look for is that it must have broken structure. In this case, you can see that it did quite clearly break structure. You can see it broke above this area of structure right there. However, what we haven't had is the market. We haven't had that volume increase that we look for when we're expecting an order block to form. Here you can see that volume does gradually increase, right? But we don't have that rapid increase that we look for once we see that smart money has gotten involved. Because when smart money gets involved, we want to see a rapid increase in volume. So that's the first thing that I don't like about NZTCHF. It looks to me that it has created an area of structure, and you could argue that this order block has already been mitigated by that area of structure, right? Right, so this is the order block. The market came to it and then pushed higher. So you could argue that the order block is already mitigated. However, if we look lower, there is an order block down here that you could argue is very valid. So this order block here, you could argue is valid. That the market could go to that order block. So I'd say just watch it. We are pro trend in terms of, yeah, back in the day when I used to trade. This is when I used to trade retail. But anyway, um, I'd say keep watching because we are pro trend, as you can see. We are bullish. We are in a bullish market, as you can see. So I just wait to see what will happen in this zone. What will happen in this zone, because this zone is a mitigated zone. This zone does look a little better, um, but I'd be watching for the time being. I wouldn't do anything too crazy. So the other pair that you wanted me to go through is NZD CAD. So if we look at NZD CAD and we look at our higher time frames, as we do, so it looks to me, okay, this order block is valid. So I have a nice daily OB right here that the market is going to. The market has come into that daily OB, and now we're seeing market structure kind of change. We are bullish overall, so we are pro trend, so that's a good thing for our trade setup. You can see that we are forming higher highs and higher lows. The market has now just come into our area of structure. So if you look now on the lower time frames and go on to something like the daily time frame, it looks to me that the market has just taken out these equal lows, which is a good thing also. So it looks to me that there was a bit of equal lows in that zone. So resting liquidity, as I said, is a magnet for the market, right? The market is going to come take out these equal lows. As you can see here, we have perfect equal lows. The market has just taken out those equal lows through this wick. It's not very clear, but it is breaker structure downside. You could argue now that we have equal lows right here as well that the market has taken care of. The market has taken care of all equal lows that I think the market would need to go to. Um, so if anything on NZD CAD, we'd like to see a push to the upside. Let's just look back at our higher time frames to make sure that there aren't any other zones that I could go to. It looks to me that there aren't any other order blocks that aren't mitigated that it could go to, because something like this is not valid. Something like this is not valid. This is definitely not valid. This looks like the only clear order block that's valid. So yeah, this is pro trend and this is a nice setup. So I'd say wait for a nice entry because there aren't any nice entries at the moment. I'd say maybe get a break of structure above these highs, maybe something like this, a break of structure above these highs, right? Get a nice order block to enter your trade from, and then re-enter to take the market higher. I will post this in the group as well. So far we have, I think it was someone asked about NZD CAD, so this one right here, NZD CAD. I'm just gonna write this here so that I don't forget. The second pair that I'm gonna post in the group chat, I promised was, let me just look back in chat. I think it was 1 second, USD CHF. So here we go. That's the other one, USD CHF. So those are the two so far that I'm going to be posting in the group chat once this call ends. But that's this does look like a very nice setup. If I do say so myself, we had a little bit of double bottom at that area of structure. The market then took out that area of structure, that area of liquidity to the downside, and now it's pushing to the upside again. So what I'd say is the market has also just now come to uh, an order block here, so that's another area of confluence or potential confluence for our trade. I'd say wait for this setup to break structure above these highs before you enter. I will be guiding us through an entry if we get any potential entries. I will of course let you know, and I will of course guide us through that full like how to get an entry. So yeah, I'll be going through all of that later on. We'll just be watching for the time being. If anyone has any other pairs that they want me to go through, and if you are like a new member and you have any other questions, let me know because you are the priority at the moment. So if you have any questions, let me know and I will go through them. Um, GBP, NZD, and GU. Okay, let's look at GBP, NZD, and GU. So GBP, USD, right? What do I see on GBP, USD? Let me just delete everything off the chart and go onto the higher time frames. So as you can see, we are bullish overall. The market has come into an OB and has begun to sell off. There's going to be, I don't want to enter any trades in a GPUSD at the moment because we have an area of double top that the market could take out to the upside. Also, however, we are bullish overall, so it's likely that's going to happen. But also, this weekly OB has been really annoying me for the longest time because I like GU. It's one of those major pairs that I like to trade. But because of this OB, I haven't been wanting to enter any counter trend trades. But also that double top that I was talking about means that I don't want to be entering any trades as well. So both sides of the market are looking like nice setups. Once we have that happen, I just don't want to enter any trades in that type of market scenario. If anything, I'd be waiting to see it come into an OB here. You just saw the way I marked it out. I refined it onto, I think it was the 1 hour. So I'd be watching for it to come into an OB there before I enter any trades. I'd want for it to come take out equal highs because it has already mitigated this OB. So we were entering trades off of this OB. The market came to it, sold off a bit, and then mitigated us out of our setup. So I'd be watching this, but I'm not particularly interested in entering GU at the moment. The other pair that someone wanted me to show was GBP NZD. So if I get GBP NZD up, and I look at this maybe on the lower time frames to see if there's a valid OB. Okay, you can see on GBP NZD, if I go onto the higher time frames, we are bullish. You can see we are forming higher highs and higher lows. There is a lot of equal lows that need to be taken out below here. The market seems to be coming into an OB up here. So if I show us that OB and we go into the 1 hour just to show us that OB a bit clearer, this is the OB I'm talking about, right? You can all see that we have this order block right here, very clear order block, right? And the market has just come into that order block, right? So it looks to me this is a nice setup. There is an order block higher as well though, up here as you can see, that the market could go to. So those are the two zones that I'd be watching to be entering trades on for GU. So this one here and also this one here. Those are the two areas that I am suspect about that the market could reverse from. But for the time being, um, I am, because we are severely bullish. I don't want to be entering any trades that are not pro trend. I'd just be watching for it to break structure below, maybe in this area of consolidation. This area of consolidation, I must say so, is good for a setup because we do like consolidation because that indicates that smart money stacking orders, as I've said, right? So what you could be looking to do is just watch Wait for it to break structure below lows down here, maybe lows down here before you get a re-entry from like an order block, a supply zone to take the market lower. That's what I'd say. Maybe you could also argue that there's a bit of whack off distribution, but I don't want to be that trader, as I've said, that turns everything into whack off. Even though it's not particularly clear. In this case, I just say continue watching, wait for it to break structure below lows down here, maybe below lows down here, then wait for it to retrace into a supply zone where you can get entries later on. But I will post this in the group chat as well. So that's the other pair, GBP and ZD. So those are all the pairs that I will be posting right after this call. So GBP and ZD. If anyone has any other pairs that they want me to go through, of course I'll go through them. Jonathan says that USD JPY seems to have broken a clear POY but reacted a little lower. Let's take a look at that. USD JPY. So here we go. Okay, this is the clear order block you're talking about, clear POY you're talking about. I think let me just delete these markings out. I did have it marked out and I did enter a trade and I was actually stopped out of this trade. So this was the area that I was watching. So if I show you on the 1 hour, which was where it was most clear, I think it was maybe even the 5 minute. Let me see. Let me just zoom all the way back up for the setup. So here you go. This was the area I was watching. That was the order block. You can see that that was the order block and it was valid because we have that volume increase and it broke structure later on. So you see that the market has broken below that area, right? And seems to be coming into dark areas down here. You can see that we have another order block down here that is potentially valid that the market could be going to. Um, but USD JPY, I'm a bit salty about this loss that I took here. So I'm gonna just be watching it also, just because I don't want to be entering too many trades on the same setup. If I've already taken a loss on it. So I'd be watching this. For me, I'll be watching it, but I will of course post it in the group chat. If anyone wants to be entering, and I will set alerts and let everyone know when those alerts trigger. So those are the two areas I'd be watching: USD JPY. Areas down here, and areas below this double bottom. This double bottom has been sussing me out because I don't want the market to come take out everyone at that double bottom, because we have, obviously we know that there's going to be resting liquidity right below that double bottom. So maybe what you want to do is you just want to watch to see if it will react to this. If it does, maybe get re-entries later on. So wait for it to do something like this, come into your area, push up, break structure, retrace, then you get your entry. Just because you don't want to get taken out with this area of double bottom, because this area of double bottom will really bite you in the back if you enter trades from here, right? Chris says that he wants me to go through CAD JPY. Let me do that right now. So CAD JPY, um, to see if there are any trade opportunities. We called CAD JPY a very long time ago. I was expecting to sell it. It did end up selling off quite a bit later after I called it. So you can see that we had this wick drawn in. That was our order block. The market came into our order block, right? If I just zoom out for us, right? The market came into our order block and is now beginning to sell off. There is a lot of reason for this to really sell off all the way down, because we are bullish, I mean bearish, in terms of our higher time frames, in terms of our decade level. You can see that we are forming lower lows and lower highs, and also in terms of our lower time frames, and like compared to that decade level, weekly, monthly, you can see that there is a lot of imbalance that needs to be filled, right? So there is a lot of reasoning for this trade to go well. It looks to me that it has just taken care of an order block here as well, which is another reason for this to be a winning trade. So he's just taking care of this order block, went to this order block and began to sell off, broke structure below that low. Maybe what you want to be doing now is getting entries off of an order of a Fibonacci level. So I just say wait, continue watching, right? Get an entry off of the 618 and then take it lower. So I'll send that as well, CAD JPY. So we have, these are all the pairs that I'll be sending into the group chat: CAD JPY, GBP NZD, NZD CAD, and USD CHF. So those are all the pairs for the time being that I'll be watching and I'll be sending to the group chat. Someone else wanted me, okay, some man sent through a chart. Let's look at his chart, see what's good for USD CAD. So here we go. He's looking at the 2 hour time frame, or was it the 4 hour? Let me just make sure of that. So I think it was the 4 hour, right? He's looking at, let me delete everything off this chart. He's looking at this order block. As you can see, it's a very valid order block, right? That the market has just come into, and he's looking to sell it he is right in terms of the higher time frame trend. You can see that we are bearish overall. If you look at the lower time frames on something like the 30-minute, you can see it started to react nicely. So everything so far for this trade is lining up very nicely. What I'd say is, and we have a lower time frame potential entry right here that the market could come to. So the market is going to push up to our entry right here and then begin to sell off. Right, so this is a very nice setup. Zaman, congratulations. This is a nice setup. Let's see if maybe it's reacted to a fib level. It looks to be reacting to the 0.618 of a zone. Um, so that's another thing that you could be getting entries from. That you could be watching out for. You're not going to be entering buys. So that Fibonacci. So if I just draw in that Fibonacci again, that 618 zone right here that you could have got entries from is the entries for the buy up, right? That entry isn't what we're going to be watching. We're going to be watching the sell down. So we're going to be watching for the market to come into our zone and then sell us down, right? So I'll be setting alerts at that level right there. I'll wait for it to come into our zone and then I'll be entering sells. But that does look like a very nice setup, Zaman. I must say so. That's a very nice setup. Um, also, there's a little bit of imbalance. If you could argue that this is an area. There's an area of imbalance below here, right? Straight bullish pressure, no bearish momentum. You can see in this zone from wick to wick is just bullish, just going to the upside. So you maybe want it to come take out that area. So that could be your first take profit. So if you enter your setup here, right, with your stop loss placed right above there, right, the market could come to an area of imbalance below here. So that could be like a nice 1 to 3 setup. But the potential is that it could go to the downside further because we are pro trend, and we are looking at a market that has been bearish for a very long time. So this does look like a nice setup, if I do say so myself. Congratulations, man. Who else? Bang Ming says, but USD CAD has so much imbalance above the higher time frames. Let's see on the higher time frames. Um, okay, here you go. There's an imbalance here, right? Um, there's always going to be confluence on both sides of the setup. This imbalance is very high compared to where we are right now. What I'd say is at a minimum, you'd want to scalp it to an imbalance below here, right? Because even if USD CAD is reversing, and as you can see, it has been bullish for a bit. So even if it is reversing, I'd want it to come take care of an imbalance, then go higher, right? So if we get an entry like this, right? If I go down again 1 second, if I go onto here and we get an entry like this from here and then we go lower, right? That's fine. And then it reverses and continue going to the upside. Fine, but we've won the trade, so we're out of our setup. We've just gained 3% on our account. There's always going to be confluence on both sides of the setup, right? So you don't want to be too picky in terms of your setup just because there's confluence on both sides of the setup, right? So that's what I'd say. Just a word of advice for you. Um, in terms of if you want to be entering trades where there's confluence on the other side of the setup. If it's a very far way away, you can see that we have an imbalance, but that imbalance is a very far way away. And there's an imbalance lower. Look at your lower time frames. See if the market is going to come take out that imbalance first, then go higher because you can enter the sell, right, to take it to that imbalance, and then maybe if you want to and you're feeling brave, you can then enter a buy up, right? For me, I'll only be selling this pair because our 3 rules are we only trade pro trend, and as you can see, we have been very bearish on USD CAD for a very long time, right? So that's all I'd be doing for USD CAD. We now only have 2 minutes left on this call. I hope to be coming out with that. I know I not I hope to. I will be coming out with a 10-part video course. At least half of it will be out by tomorrow. So as I've said, I'll be talking about market structure, lower time frame entries, Wyckoff accumulations and distributions, supply and demand zones. All of that will be coming out tomorrow. You should be looking at 10 minutes per video on average. I hope that all of you have benefited from this call, and I hope that all of the new members are welcome, have been made feel welcome into the group and all of that good stuff. So thank you all for coming. I have recorded this and I will post it in the group chat momentarily. But thank you all for coming, and I'll see you all next time.